Alright, there we go. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I guess maybe as I was trying to hit the preview, it started up and I didn't realize it, and I wasn't ready to put everything together yet. So I tried to redo it again and it wouldn't work. So it should be working now. So if anybody in the comments section, if they can hear me, just let me know and I'll get this started. Alright, so people can obviously see that I'm on. Alright, so good. So sorry about that. Update, whatever they did at the vet today made her worse. At this point, I don't know what else we can do. So we're going to see, hopefully, the medicine they did or whatever they did, it's just maybe overwhelmed her for the day. But yesterday, she was fine. Today, I don't know. I don't know what to say. But anyway, there's a video I got to talk about that I just saw. I didn't really want to make this video because this is a person I highly respect, and this is not a diss video at all, but I think this is very important for people to understand. So the first thing I want to do is apologize to Reggie, because I don't want him to think this is any kind of bashing at all. He knows I love him to death. I'm subscribed to his channel. He gives great output, great information, very positive, and I can guarantee you the video he just did had every good intention in the world. So with that being said, he had a had a video today that I watched promoting some product which he's not getting paid for. He stated that, so he's not doing it and saying things just because he was getting paid, because he's not. Like I said, I consider him a friend. I consider him very honorable, so I know his intentions were 100% pure. But there's a thing called drowning in good intention, and I have to make sure about this, because in the title of his video, he basically said prevent, I want to say it specifically, I don't want to misquote. His title was Preventing Your Comics from Aging. And he was talking about a company that was selling these microchamber paper. Now, microchamber paper will help your comic books. There is no doubt about that. It will absorb some acid. But unfortunately, the title, especially to a newer viewer, would be very misleading. Unless you put your comics in a vacuum-sealed device away from any kind of microorganisms. I have telepathy. I said several times, you know, telepathy, I have to honestly say, with some of the comments you leave, I can honestly say I'm not sure about your true intentions, but I specifically said he was not promoting it, he was recommending it. I have a lot of respect for Reggie, so telepathy, I'm just going to say right now, I don't have confidence in your true intentions of being here. So please don't make statements that you seem to not be aware of. Because like I said, I have lots of respect for Reggie, but this is for my subscribers and new collectors, because the information is not accurate. And unfortunately, you can't send private messages anymore, and this is not about dissing. Alright, I have telepathy. I really don't want to talk to you right now. In the mood I'm in, I just don't want to deal with it. You can think whatever you want. Reggie will know that I mean no disrespect. This is all about making sure people have the correct information. I love Reggie to death. I recommend his channel. I've been promoting him. I've been subscribed to him before most people even knew who he was. So this is not about bashing. This is about information that he may not have been aware of, that I need to educate subscribers to. So we're going to please leave it at that. If you wish to disagree or think I have alternative motives, keep that to yourself, because that's the furthest from the truth. So if we're going to go with certain words, you're not helping. Okay? So, as I was saying, Mylars, great. Microchamber paper, great. Halfbacks, fullback backing boards, amazing. But they will not stop your comics from aging. They will slow it down. But like I was saying, unless you put it in a vacuum-sealed chamber that can get rid of every single microorganism, because even if you just have a vacuum sealer, and if you don't have the ability to basically have it in a room that is completely germ-free and bacteria-free, even if you put it in a vacuum sealer yourself in your house, you are putting microorganisms that live on paper. That is why you see comics over time, they brown and they basically fade away. So what I'm trying to say is, I understand his motives are 100% pure. That is not about that. And I also said, and I will continue to state, he is not getting paid for this. But his title, if you are a new collector and see a title that says, prevent your book from aging, is not accurate. I'm not accusing of lying. I'm not accusing him being dishonest. Like I said, he's one of the few people that actually I communicate with over the phone. I have much respect for the man. But I would hope he would do the same thing if I did something wrong. So it's not the intention that's a question here. It's the information is unfortunately not accurate. And there's a difference between lying and being inaccurate. So I know 100%, I can say for certain, he's not a liar. He's not out to mislead people. But unfortunately, the information, if you are a new collector, you may think, okay, if I buy this product, and like I said, he doesn't get paid for it, but he believed in it. But if somebody took that information, bought that stuff, and, you know, just decided to put it in their unfinished basement, or put it up in the attic, or just thought, well, because they stated it won't age, I'll be fine, and then years later your comic is destroyed, you're not going to be happy. Temperature will create moisture. So if you're in an area that's, for example, like a desert, or somewhere like in Florida where there's a lot of moisture, or there's a lot of extreme temperatures because you maybe put it near a radiator or a fireplace or an air conditioner, or you have an unfinished basement or you have an unfinished attic where there are extreme temperatures, that is going to create moisture. Some of it you will not be able to see because bacteria is microscopic. So things like mylars, things like halfback and fullback backing boards, and even things like microchambers, yes, they are going to help your comics, but they are not going to stop them from aging. I mean, look at the Declaration of Independence. That has to be underground with regulated temperatures 24/7. It is in a vacuum sealed chamber, and it is also not written on paper, it's written on hemp. Most people may not be aware of that. The original Constitution was not written on normal paper. It's written on hemp, which is 100 times stronger than a piece of paper. And they have to put it in such a secure facility because even that will be destroyed. That's why they have to raise it up at certain times, and when they're done, they have to lower it down into a room temperature controlled chamber that is vacuum sealed. And Steve, if you can stop them from aging, that's great. You'd be a millionaire overnight. And Greg says, Chris, how do you think CGC, PGX, etc. protects your books? Well, they do protect them. I mean, obviously, a case or mylar or fullback or these microchamber papers, they will protect the book, but it's not permanent. They will not stop them from aging. Again, storage is key. And if you do not store your comics properly, because unfortunately there is information out there that is not accurate, and your very expensive comics that you spent very expensive stuff to protect ultimately ends up destroying your comic, you're not going to be happy about that. Paper is made from trees. Ever hear of termites? There are other, you ever see rats? They eat paper. There are microorganisms in the air that you cannot see, you cannot hear, you cannot feel, you cannot taste, you cannot touch, you would not even know they exist, that will eat away at your paper. So nothing outside of what they do with the Declaration of Independence is going to delay the inevitable, because even with what they do with the Declaration of Independence, and again, it's not made of paper, it's made of hemp. They have to do all of that stuff, which costs millions and millions of dollars of taxpayers' money a year. And that is still not going to stop it from one day aging. And yes, Richard says a drier climate will slow it down. Yes, this is what I'm saying. But slowing down is not stopping. Eventually, every comic and every piece of paper on the planet will eventually disappear. Now, how long that takes depends on storage, depends on location, depends on treatment. And unfortunately, and again, I have no disrespect to Reggie or anybody else that has that kind of information. It could make a new collector think, oh, well, okay, now I bought the Mylars, and now I bought the fullbacks. I spent all this money, and now I'm getting this microchamber stuff, and I'm even going to put it into a vacuum-sealed thing. You'll think, oh, all right, my comics are safe forever. That is not the case. So I'm putting this out there, not as disrespect. Now, of course, on this channel, no matter what I do, there's always going to be somebody that says something ridiculous. There's nothing I can do about that. Nor do I really care to try about that. I am trying to get information out that will not end up ultimately making somebody upset about what could happen to their comics. Because it doesn't matter what you put them in if you store them improperly. So, I didn't thumb down his video. I have no disrespect. Like I said, I subscribed to Reggie when he had about 200 subscribers. I've been promoting him. I will continue to promote him. He, I guarantee you, if he watches this video, will understand my intentions are 100% pure and not anything meant to be disrespectful. And I would hope if I put out a video and he discovered something that was not beneficial to the community, that he would do the same thing, and I can promise you that he would be as respectful. And there you go, Reggie's right here. And see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I have the utmost respect for Reggie. So I'm actually glad you're here. So as far as your comics are concerned, your comics will never last forever. You can't stop the aging. It can only slow down. So I just want to be careful, especially with new collectors, because there's a lot of information out there that can be either misleading or is not accurate, or it's something where a bunch of people say the same thing, and there's something where if you say the same thing long enough, it becomes truth. And I want people, to understand that, yes, these things will improve the chances of your comics lasting longer. But eventually, after a couple of generations, your comics will fade away and the paper will be gone and become dust. So, microorganisms are in the air. You're breathing them in every second. Depending on your climate and your location, is going to speed up or slow down that process regardless of what you put around it. Whether you submit it to any grading company, whether you do all of these other things. So I'm just trying to make sure with new collectors, they do not mistake in that information, which I can say to Reggie 100%, his intentions are 100% pure. He's not trying to mislead anybody. He's not trying to make a profit off of it. I can guarantee you that is the truth. But I just want to make sure that some new person doesn't see the title and thinks, okay, because Reggie is a good guy. He's very positive. Very trustworthy. I trust him, absolutely. As a matter of fact, he's the only person that has my phone number on YouTube at this moment. That's how much I trust him. I don't want anybody to make, if their comics got ruined, I don't want them to say, well, I watched a video like that, and now I'm going to spread hatred towards them. Trust me, a lot of the reason why some people hate me is because years ago, I made a video about Mylars, and I got murdered for it. Now, I may not have said it the best way then, but my intention is to show people that no matter what you protect your comic with, the best it can do is slow down the processes of degeneration. It's like humans. You could be the most athletically fit person in the world. You can eat every single thing that is nothing but good to you. You can drink nothing but water, eat nothing but vitamins. Eventually, your body breaks down and you disappear from the earth. And after a couple of centuries, your existence is no longer there. You fade into dust. So I hope I can pretty much, and I'll assume, and I'm sure he'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I would like to think that he's not assuming that I'm making this video to try and diss him or disrespect him at all. I just want accurate information, and everybody makes mistakes, or everybody can do something that is not perfect. That's what makes us human. So this is not an attack video. This is not me saying to unsubscribe. As a matter of fact, I'll say it again. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Please subscribe to his channel. He is probably the most positive person I've seen on YouTube anywhere. I don't know how he does it, and I give him the utmost credit. I just wanted to make sure that newer people do not think that that information would cause them to do something and think, well, now I can do whatever I want. And their comics end up ultimately potentially could get ruined because maybe they decide, oh, well, they said this stuff will last forever, so now I could put it in my unfinished basement. Or I can set the box near a radiator and not think about it. Or put it in an attic where mice can get to it or insects can get to it. So this is all about making sure we all have our comics for as long as we can, the best that we can. Keep in mind, Golden Age comics have been around since the 30s, 40s, and mid-50s. Back then, there were no Mylars. There were no backing boards. There were no microchamber papers. And yet, they still survived. What I'm trying to say is, the businesses that sell those things have fed people after repeating the same information over and over again to assume that if you spend lots of money on these products, it will guarantee your comics will be fine forever. So I can understand when you see companies promoting things. You have to understand, like I always say, think like a business. A business is there to make money. They are not there to tell you the truth. And it is up to all of us to think past what a company who's trying to sell you stuff is going to say about a product. Now again, Reggie's not getting paid. I watched the video. He has the purest of intentions. I know this. But that doesn't make the information accurate. What happens from here, I hope Reggie sees this, because he was in the chat room. I hope he sees this as not a diss, not a disrespect, and sees that my heart is 100% pure about this. I didn't even want to make this video, but I don't want to see anybody have their comics ultimately in the long run potentially get ruined because they believed in a product that is not going to work the way the company probably states. Look into how they preserve the Declaration of Independence. I want you to, don't Google it because that's part of YouTube, and YouTube does nothing but block most people with any kind of helpful information. Use Bing or something. Or just type into YouTube, how do they preserve the Declaration of Independence? And you'll see the millions of dollars they spend to preserve it and how delicate they have to treat it. And that's not even going to stop it. And again, it's on hemp, written on hemp paper. Hemp is, by the way, marijuana, which was the #1 export of the colonies. Most people are not taught that in school. John says, watch National Treasure. Yes, you can get an idea from that as well. They have to keep it underground in a temperature-controlled room, in a vacuum-sealed chamber. Victor says, Chris, what you use besides PGX, what else do to prevent aging? Again, all you can do, it's like your life. You can't stop aging. You can slow it down. You could be the healthiest person in the world. Eventually, you will fade away. Your body, your skin will disappear. It will be eaten. Your bones will turn to dust. And within a couple of centuries, no one will know you ever were on the planet. And that's a person that's the healthiest person on the planet. Same thing with comic books. It's same thing with everything. Even a bridge. There's a reason why they paint bridges every year. The idea is they have to repaint it every year. Otherwise, all of the salt and the moisture will deteriorate the metal and the steel, and it will rust and it will collapse. It may take a couple of 100 years. Take a building, the best building ever made. It will last maybe 1,000 years, maybe 2,000 years before it would collapse in on itself. And another 1,000 years to the point where no one would ever knew it existed. So I'm just trying to let people know that you cannot stop comics from aging. And Mylars and halfbacks and all that other very expensive stuff that they've gotten people to spend lots of money on will delay the inevitable, but it will not stop it. And that's why I try and tell people, Golden Age books, people back then didn't buy them to collect them like we do. They bought them to read them. They put them in their back pockets. They threw them out when they were done. Or they put them away in a box for decades with no protection. And they still... I mean, there is a Superman, an Action Comics #1 that was graded a 9.0. Do you think from day one that was in a Mylar? They didn't exist until about the mid-70s. So from 1938 through somewhere in the mid-70s, that book was probably in somebody's box or drawer or shed or something with no bag and board, no protection. And yet it still lasted the time. New subject. Bob says, how's Luna? Whatever they did the second visit brought her back to the way she originally was. She can't walk 3 steps without breathing. I don't know what to do at this point. And No Telepathy says, unsubscribe now, then go right ahead. Telepathy, if you're going to unsubscribe because I'm talking about truth that people don't want to hear like you, like I said, I've questioned you on several things that you've said. So if you want to unsubscribe, by all means, please do. I am actually tired of people hating on me because I don't say what people want to hear. So, Telepathy, have a wonderful life. The fact that you have to announce that you're unsubscribed is just kind of sad. You're exposing yourself for one of the people who pretends to be friends, because I didn't want to disrespect you the other day, but I know you're one of the people that thumbs down my videos. But at this point, don't really care. So you said you unsubscribed. Congratulations. If people want to unsubscribe because I am trying to educate people and trying to save them money, and if you think I'm disrespecting somebody or anything like that, that's up to you. I'm not here to baby somebody. And like I said with Reggie, I have the utmost respect. Love him to death. Consider him a friend. But I can't control how somebody will respond to this. I mean no disrespect at all. I can only control what I do. I cannot control what anybody else does. All I know is there was a video that I felt that new subscribers, if they saw that title, as good as the intentions were, people may have gotten the misinformation from it and assumed that companies, because a company's not going to tell you, oh yeah, you know, this stuff will fade away eventually. This stuff will not really help it in the long run. And they end up putting it somewhere that destroys the comic, and who are they going to get mad at? They're going to get mad at somebody that made a video like that. And I don't want to see Reggie, for example, because others do channel videos like that as well. I don't ever want to see anybody hate on him like they hate on me. It's ridiculous. I can understand if I was some murderer or some Nazi or somebody promoting violence. The hate I get because I'm trying to give information that can help you. Some people, it's shocking. But it's not surprising anymore. So if anybody wants to unsubscribe because I'm telling people that you're literally wasting your money with Mylars and halfbacks and fullbacks, because any of them show me a comic book from 1938 to 1956. Let's go to 1962. Show me a book from 1938 through 1962 that was in Mylars or bagged in boards during that time period, and yet they survived. But now, those companies have made people in this community believe that those things are going to make your comics last forever. That is not going to happen. It will improve them if provided you store them correctly. So if anybody wants to unsubscribe from me and give me all this hatred, which I do not understand, by all means, if it excites you to thumb it down, get off on it, that's fine. If you want to take the time to write that you're unsubscribing, all I could say is get a life. So now that one person, and like I said, I know people that thumb down my videos. He was one of them. I've seen some of the other comments he's left. He doesn't say my name directly, but it's, trust me. So now he's blocked. So if you want to believe that Mylars and all these other expensive things, if you want to spend 5, 6, 7 times the money to protect your comic with these things, and you think they are going to protect your comics forever, one day you will be very disappointed and very much broke. So if people want to hate on me for telling the truth, by all means, please do. I would rather somebody hate me because they didn't believe, they hated what I'm speaking of, than to have me as a friend and information that I gave did not benefit them. And I will say it again and again and again. I have no disrespect for Reggie at all. But if people want to hate on me because I'm trying to help them understand on a deeper level about certain things, because nobody talks about microorganisms, nobody talks about the different temperatures and how they create moisture that creates mold and bacteria, many of it you can't see. Like, for example, I've seen fools on the internet that will take molded bread and say, well, as long as I don't eat the green part, that I'll be fine. What they don't understand is, yes, you see the mass amount of bacteria on that mold and the green part of the bread, but there's actually massive spreading inside the bread that you do not see. So when you take a bite into it, you could literally die if it's the wrong kind of mold. Just because you can't see something doesn't mean it's not there. So I'm trying to educate people, and if people want to hate me for that, that's fine. Thumb it down. Reggie, yes, Reggie is cool. And I would love to, I have not heard from him other than him saying he's here and he's listening. I don't know if he's offended by this or not. I hope not, because that's not my intention. I'm trying to protect him from him ever having to deal with what I'm dealing with. Because, trust me, on YouTube, they'll love you and they'll turn on you in a heartbeat. And I never want to see Reggie ever have that happen to him. That's how much respect I have for the man. Others are going to make all these spins, all these accusations about me and everything, and that's fine. Like some other person said, I'm one of those reseller kind of people. Which, first of all, there's nothing wrong with it even if I was. But second of all, show 1 ounce of proof. The accusation. So anyway, this is turning into a rant because I'm very frustrated because, like I said, I sent Luna to the second day to the hospital. They've made her worse, and we don't know now what's going to happen. She's been drinking water for 10, 20 minutes straight. She can only walk 3 or 4 feet before she starts collapsing and breathing. I am extremely frustrated. I'm trying to help people. If you don't want my help, that's fine. But then don't come here. If you have to come here to tell me you don't like what I'm doing, that says more about you than it will ever say about me. And Steve, trust me, I am extremely calm. And I appreciate you asking. You can believe whatever you want to believe. That doesn't make it true. You can't see oxygen. You can't touch oxygen. But yet it's all around you. So you could sit there and say, well, everybody told me that oxygen doesn't exist. You can believe that. It doesn't stop you from breathing it. So what I'm trying to make people understand is companies will give you information, do it very positively, tell you everything that you want to hear, mislead you. Look at the video I did where 300 people have seen about the stuff I gave to help animals. First of all, YouTube is blocking it because I made the exact same video. I just copied it and posted it on my other channel. 47,000 subscribers. It's got 200 views. And YouTube that same day blocked it and said it is unadvertiser friendly. And yet, all of the information that I spoke about in there, unless you researched it, you'd never hear it from a vet. You'd never hear it from a news organization. You'd never hear it from schooling. You'll never hear it from the media. So if you want to trust the very people that are making money off of your trustingness, is it no wonder why things are not going wonderfully in this world? So that's what this video is basically all about. If anybody wants to say I'm trying to disrespect, or anybody want to say I'm being a jerk or whatever, I cannot control that. You are you are absolutely entitled to believe whatever you want. I'm trying to keep people to think in a different way so they don't end up ruining the very things they love. What you guys do from here is fine. The fact that that individual, and I won't even say his name anymore, has to put in a live show that he's unsubscribing just because I'm telling people to be very careful about overspending on things that don't work the way you think they do. You're going to unsubscribe for that? Bye-bye. I guarantee you he's going to continue to thumb down my videos and stalk my channel like the other 8 to 20 do for the past 3 to 5 years. I'm not afraid to say what is truth, even if it is unpopular. Trust me, my other channel, Barn on 11970, I was telling people back in 2012 about the fake news. You know what? I was laughed at. I was mocked. I was actually given death threats from people. You know what? I said it way before Trump made it popular. And yet it turned out to be true. So I'm not going to say things that are popular to fit in, because that does not help you. I don't need a bunch of friends to put my arms around and say kumbaya and lie to people or give misinformation. And again, I'm not saying Reggie did that, but there are plenty of people out there on YouTube, all over YouTube, that do that. And yeah, well, I'll be working on the 4th, because I have to try and work to pay all these situations that it seems the vets have destroyed in 24 hours. So people just love to get angry at the messenger. If you think my intention is to hurt you, any of you, first of all, I know most of you don't think that way. You know what? If somebody wants to hate somebody that rapes women, or injures children, or steals from the poor, or the elderly, or does evil. You're going to hate on me because I collect comics differently? That says a lot more about you than it does me. And I'm not talking to you guys specifically. I'm talking about the morons out there. And yes, I'm very frustrated. I'm not afraid of this video. People are going to take it no matter what. Like I said, I have 4 to 6 thumbs down from the video telling people about how to save their animals. There are idiots out there. And I love talking about them every now and then. Makes me feel good. So anyway, I'm going to get going because I have a very important phone call. And for those of you who know my true intentions, I love you. I guess I'll find out from Reggie eventually, because I haven't heard from him since he said he's listening. I hope he didn't take it the wrong way, because trust me, like I said, I have no problem with the person at all. It's just a video that I needed to put out there. What happens from here, I guess I'll find out, and I'll get the consequences for it by tomorrow. I'm very sure about that. But it's not something I'm not unfamiliar with. So all of you have a great night. Have a safe 4th of July. If you drink, please do not drive. Care for you all. My intentions are to help people understand things that no company will ever tell you about. And that's why I preach, research for yourself. Because even very good people, very honest people, can make mistakes. That doesn't make them bad. We're human, we all make mistakes. It's what you do after that is determined the true intention. So thank you very much for listening. Some of you may like this, some of you may think, oh, typical Chris. That's fine. Won't change the information. And that's what's most important. I hope you all have a great night.